Hey guys, Jason Creel, and this is the Lawn Care Life. It is the middle of the winter, and I wanted to show you what kind of weeds we find in the yard in the wintertime. Stay tuned. All right, we're trying to find some weeds here in the winter. I'm in Alabama, so we're dealing with warm season grasses that go dormant in the winter. So most of the time when that's the case, just about anything green you see in the lawn typically is a weed during the winter months. So let's get down in the lawn and see what we can find. All right, now one of the most common weeds you're gonna see in the wintertime is wild garlic and wild onions. And most time people just refer to them as onions. Actually, a lot of times they're garlic. The garlic, let's see if I can tell. You're gonna have a hard time seeing on here on the camera. Garlic is actually hollow. The leaf is hollow, and an onion is more of a solid leaf. So I believe this is gonna be garlic, but regardless, they both have a bulb. They're both tough to kill. Products with methylsulfuron can work on onions. I use Blindside, which has methylsulfuron in it, and it kind of make them wilt a little bit. A lot of times you spray them and then let it sit on there for a couple weeks, and then if you were to mow the grass, a lot of times they won't come back. But the goal is that, and I've seen this, I've had yards that had a lot of onions and garlic in it. When you spray it with the methylsulfuron, you might not see anything happen that year, but what happens is the next winter you see far less in the yard. So Blindside, MSM Turf are both good products for the onions. All right, look at this. It looks like baby parsley. This is Bur Weed, and you know, if you're familiar with it, you know that when you walk around barefooted, or you got kids that walk around barefooted in the springtime, all these little stickers in their feet, this is the plant, Bur Weed. It doesn't have burrs on it right now. I mean, the goal is to prevent it with a pre-emergent in the fall. Sometimes that doesn't work. And what you can try to do is to kill it in the springtime or in the winter before it makes the burrs on it. You know, if it already has burrs and you kill it, you're still gonna have burrs, and you're gonna step on them, and they're gonna be in your yard probably till the summertime. So Bur Weed is definitely a hated weed for us. All right, let me show you several weeds here. You got this one that I've been seeing a good bit of. It's called hairy bittercress. Sometimes it'll give you fits. I believe it puts off a little white flower. You got this, you know, kind of nasty weed, cud weed, I believe is what that is. You can see here, it's in the best picture. This isn't the best example, but henbit. If you ever see people's yard, at least around here, about February, their yard will be purple with all the henbit flowers. It's henbit, you know, these broadleaf weeds are pretty easy to control. This is a common problem weed here. It's called Poa annua, or annual bluegrass. One of the ones that can give you headaches in the wintertime that you're gonna see. Again, hopefully you're preventing a lot of these weeds with a fall pre-emergent. We're gonna talk more specifically about some of these weeds on how to get rid of them in later videos. You can see here is some geraniums growing here. Again, a lot of these are real easy to kill with a three-way product. Any kind of broadleaf weed killer will get most of these. Of course, clover. Clover's one you'll see, you know, a lot of yards this time of year around here. If they've had no weed control treatments done, they'll have a lot of clover in the yard. There's some henbit you can see. Looks like just starting to see a little purple in there. So when they start blooming, but they'll bloom, like I said, you'll see people in their yards are totally purple, seems like. And then here's a dandelion. You know, it's not blooming, doesn't have the easy to identify big yellow flower on it, but dandelion nonetheless. And of course, dallisgrass is still hanging around here. It's late December, it's still got some green. You know, we've talked about this in the past, but on a dormant Bermuda lawn, when the Dallas still has some green to it, that's the time you can spray it with glyphosate, and hopefully be able to knock out a bunch of the dallisgrass without damaging your Bermuda. Don't try that on any other type of grass, and make sure the Bermuda is totally dormant. There's a really good example of the hairy bittercress. Okay guys, these are some of the winter weeds you're gonna see in your lawn, cool season weeds here in the South. Again, weeds vary from region to region, so you may have other weeds in your lawn, but we're going to talk about some of these weeds specifically on how to control them in your lawn, so you can stay tuned for that in later videos. If you hadn't done so, subscribe to the channel. I hope to continue to provide helpful information to you, and you can check out these suggested videos. Thanks a lot.